All right, this video is Introduction to Printing Part 1. So, this is printing on a manual press. I'm going to be positioning myself, as was stated before, in line with where the platen ends up when it's on the pulley. Now, you'll notice that the pulley makes a ka-chunk sound when it's in place. Ka-chunk. If it makes just a ka sound, but not a second sound, that means you've not gone far enough and it's going to bounce back. If it makes 3 sounds, like ka-chunk chunk, you hear that, 1, 2, 3, that means you've gone too far and it's out in limbo again. So I always make sure that it just makes that 2 noise, ka-chunk, and it's in place. And I keep my body here. This is important for body mechanics. I don't want to wear myself out any more than I have to. So then I'm going to load on my shirt, as I showed in a previous video. I determined that my distance was going to be bottom hem right at the edge on a small shirt. And so, my 3 movements, I put it all the way on, I drag it back. Now, an integral part of printing is establishing a good rhythm. We'll talk about that in a later video. For now, I'm going to load 4 shirts and then show you how to print. Sharps, I'm going to be using sharp squeegee rather than a dull or rounded squeegee. Although there are some applications in which a dull or rounded squeegee are helpful. The key to printing a good image is first clearing out your screen. So go on in here close and I'll show you how to do it. In order to clear out the screen, what I mean when I say clearing out the screen is getting all of the ink through the screen onto the shirt. If you don't use enough pressure, or if you go too fast, or if your squeegee is not right, you're not going to be able to clear out the ink very well. So what I do is I use 2-stroke for this black ink. The first is called a flood stroke. You can see that my squeegee angle is fairly flat. It's not all the way down. If it were, I would be putting my handle in the ink and I'd make a big mess. Instead, I'm going to put it at about 45 degrees, maybe 35 degrees. And I flood across gently. All this does is it lays a thick layer of ink and presses it down into the fibers of my mesh so that it's ready to print on with the next stroke. Then I come with a clear stroke. This is going to be more vertical. My squeegee is at 15 to 20 degrees, and I go slow and firm. I will also slightly angle my squeegee to the left or to the right, and this helps me slice across my image so that I get a good smooth stroke. I'm going to put down about as much pressure as I would if I was rolling out pizza dough or doing something like that. And I'll know if it's doing right by 2 things. One is it's going to make a very, very slight zipper noise as I go across the screen. Then I know that I'm getting into the screen good. The second is going to be, I'm going to be able to look in my screen and see, did I actually remove all of the ink from on top of the emulsion? If there's a lot of ink left on top of the emulsion, it means I didn't use enough pressure because I didn't actually get it all to move out. And if I didn't get the ink from on top of my emulsion, I probably didn't get it to go through my screen either. So I've flooded, now I'm going to clear it. 15 to 20 degrees, firm pressure. You might be able to hear that, you might not, but it makes that zipper sound. Now you can see that my emulsion has a pink color to it here. If I'm not using enough pressure on my clear stroke, I won't be able to have a pink. Instead, it's going to be dark black. It's going to be the color of the ink because I didn't get enough pressure. So I come back and you can see that on this side, it's a lighter color than this side, which means that I've cleared it out. I can also look into the mesh of the screen and see, did I clear it all out or not? If I didn't clear it, the whole part of the inside of the design is going to be full of shiny little dots of ink that are still stuck in the mesh. And when I lift it up, instead of having a nice flat smooth, in this case I've got a good design, so I'm going to slide that underneath my flash and start on my next one. Again, laying down my squeegee, flood, coming back firm. Zipper noise, looking at my emulsion, did I clear it all out? Then I'm looking through my screen. An expert printer will be able to tell what the quality of their print is before they ever look at the shirt itself. Because the screen will tell you everything you have to know about your shirt. If you cleared it out well, and if you did it in just a couple of strokes, you're going to have a good quality print. If, however, your screen is not cleared out well, if you were all over the place, or if there were lots of stop and go, your design is going to tell the difference. So when I say stop and go, here's a common thing that will happen to a novice printer, is they will have lots of hitches like this as they're going across, because they're not confident in their movements. That's going to end up driving ink through your shirt and making it so your print result is not as good. You can think of 5 different things in terms of clearing out the screen. First is the temperature. When it's cold outside, especially printing with a viscous ink like white, it's going to be difficult to move that ink around because it's very, very thick. When it's hot, like it is today, almost 90 degrees, any ink is going to print easily for you. So the first thing is temperature, T. We're going to do T pads is our acronym, 5 things, T pads. So T for temperature. P is for pressure. How much pressure am I pushing down on the squeegee? If I'm not putting enough, the ink will not go through the screen. If I'm putting too much, the ink will go straight through the shirt and you're going to end up with plasticky feeling ink on the inside of the person's chest. Nobody likes that. So T, temperature. P, pressure. A is for angle. I have to choose an appropriate angle. We've already talked about 15 to 20 degrees. D is for durometer. Durometer is a fancy word that means how hard your squeegee is. In this case, I have a hard durometer squeegee, which helps me control my design and get a thin coat of ink, which customers like. I can get away with a thin coat of ink because it's black and it's going to get good coverage no matter how thick it is. And the last thing is speed. A slow speed stroke is going to help to clear out the ink a lot better than fast. So if you're doing everything else right, you've got a good temperature, which means that you've heated up your platens, or it's a nice hot day out like it is today, and your pressure is right, and your angle is right, and you've chosen a good squeegee, but you still can't clear it out, it's probably because you're rushing things, and you just need to slow down a little bit as you're clearing out the ink. So, that's all.